my good friend Sumner, who is just been doing some incredible things. And I want him to share just the highlights of the ebbs and flow of his journey, but how he still see the good in his journey. Because I know everything isn't like peaches and cream, not even for myself or anybody who has positioned themselves where people may, them as successful. But what's going on, son? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing all right, man. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm blessed, man. So if you just want to share your name, where you chiming in from, and why you joined REI 90.
For sure. So my name is Sumpter Miller. I'm out in Dayton, Ohio, Midwest. REI 90 for about, I think it's 2 years now? Almost 2 years now, man. Reason I joined, man, going through some other mentoring programs and just information just kept coming up on YouTube, man. I never clicked on it, and one day I was just on the couch. I'm like, man, something got to give, man. I got to figure something out because what these guys teach me really ain't working. And I just started getting obsessed with the free information that Will was dropping on YouTube. And I ended up, reaching out to the team. I was at my son's football practice in the car and connecting with the account managers. And I remember they said, we're going to touch bases with you in the week. And I remember seeing that number pop up on my phone, and I'm like, man, do I really want to answer? Am I ready for this? Am I ready for this? I was definitely scared, but I think once I had got the information from the account manager, Tia, salute to her. Once she kind of broke down everything in my situation, it just made so much sense for me to join, because it's like, what do I have to lose? And the sky's just been a limit from there, man. I'm really looking forward to continue to progress on my journey, but that's where I joined.
Definitely. Let's touch a little bit on the scared part, because I think more people go through that than they realize. Can you touch on that? Like, you say you were scared. Do you even know what you were scared of?
I mean, the first big purchase that I've probably made, on my own. I bought used cars. Like small cars. But other than that, this was probably the largest payment that I had just made on my own. And coming from a background like I know real estate, people around me know real estate, I think I was also kind of scared of, oh man, you bought that mentorship program and you ain't doing X, Y, and Z yet. And I did this by myself. That kind of played a part into it as well. But I think just knowing me, I had put my trust in you and the team. And that's really what it came down to.
So you were scared. You said that was the largest investment you had made personally. So what made you finally make that decision? Because I know a lot of people get stuck by just being scared.
Nah, for sure. It was really just speaking with the team and really just going over a plan that was for me. I felt that was really genuine. And then it was just a boost of confidence that the team gave me as well. So I knew if just me personally, I always know I can accomplish anything if given the right plan. So I put it on myself to, hey, I make this investment and it got to work out. It just has to. So that was kind of the mindset that I kind of went in going into it, which is why, again, I had invested a few months after I had joined in October and into your live event that was in January, because I wanted to, get that, real genuine connection with you all. So yeah, man, that's why I joined.
Definitely. So you flew out to Vegas, came to the live event, and then you also invested in the Shelf Corporation. So
yes,
talk
sir.
a little bit about you even making that investment. And I think now you have close to about $300,000 in funding. You've built a real estate portfolio worth over $300,000. This is his actual screenshot of his portfolio with his properties. So talk about that. So you made your first investment into the coaching. You were hesitant, but you believed in yourself enough to say, you know what, let's jump in. You jump in, you make another huge investment, double your first investment in the Shelf Corp. So what gave you the confidence to double your investment to get to that next step from there?
You touch on a lot in the classes. We really have to start operating like a hedge fund in terms of getting access to capital. And that's just kind of been my mindset, because it was $20K to get it, but this $20K can get me an additional $100K and it has all the documents that had already completed. Like you said, it comes with the website and the domain. So it was literally just a, one-stop shop. All I had to do is just fill out some paperwork and pay the fee, man. Cost of doing business. So that's really what it came down to. And again, big purchase, but it can really lead to a lot more than what it was.
Definitely. Now, you said something a little earlier about you were around people who did real estate and you wanted to make sure you wasn't viewed a certain way, because I know how it is. They're like, well, you could have just asked them for advice. Why do you got to invest in mentorship? But one of your very first calls we booked, we helped you kind of clean up some of the stuff that was raveled from people who you were already in real estate with. What did that do for your confidence by saying, man, I know I made a good decision now?
As far as just joining?
Yeah, when you joined, and remember we had to help clean up a deal that you guys were stuck in. So
yeah.
That do for your confidence?
No, it definitely boosts my confidence, because it was like I was going in thinking I had purchased a property, think I knew what I was doing, got it off an auction website. It was only $28K. I used the credit card to purchase it, but with those auction properties, you don't get access to it for 5-6 months. So I had to service the debt on my own. That was just in debt servicing. That was not a term that I had knew when I purchased that property using debt. So once I kind of joined REI 90 and I started to hear you, go to that term, debt service, and making sure that they're always debt service, and I booked the strategy call with you, more money invested, really go over a one-on-one plan of what I needed to do. And, your advice was, hey, we need to get you out of that deal. Even if you have to take a small loss, it's better for you to have that capital, free, because when the opportunity presents itself, you'll be available. And that's exactly what happened. Everything that we talked about on that call, it's exactly what happened 2 months later. Sold the property in January, deal fell in my lap in March.
Just like that. So you got about 260 in funding. You got a real estate portfolio. Like on paper, man, you got over $250,000 in assets. And so we just had a call today, and you also shared something with me, just life happened. Do you mind talking a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. Two years. I graduated college in 2020, man. I've been working and lost my job 2 weeks ago. Definitely a little heartbreak, but I think me being part of REI 90 has helped me stay positive through this process. And I touched on it when we had the call, man. Had I probably not been a part of REI 90, I'd probably be very upset, down on myself, just, thinking that was probably going to be the end all be all for me. But I've been able to learn a skill set to where I didn't trick off my money while I was working. I was able to put my savings to the side, and also being able to use the money that I had earned to invest into myself. So now I can become recession-proof, because losing your job it's always a possibility. No matter how hard you work, you can always get fired. So that's kind of what I was going through. But again, I'm just trying to stay positive through the whole process.
Definitely. And if y'all are looking at this screenshot of his portfolio value 318, he has $136,000 of potential equity. That's money he can get tax-free. Let me ask you all a question. Where can anybody else on here go and get $100,000 tax-free without having to take the boss out? I don't know if y'all ever seen the movie Horrible Bosses, where people who hate their boss, and it's actually a funny movie with Jennifer Aniston and a couple other actors and actresses, where they're thinking about taking out their boss because they hate him. Like, imagine building something to where you have an access of $136,000 tax-free potentially. His debt servicing is only on $181,000. The portfolio is 318 and is continuously growing. And what he said, and I don't want this to go over you all's heads, he said he's not even upset about him losing his job. And I even told him he can go get another job tomorrow with this skill set. But what it is now he has a plan in place. And that is the biggest thing that I know a lot of people do not have. That's why they tricked off a $1.2 billion in equity in real estate. That's why people got more money from the pandemic and they're in a worse financial situation. This is why people get 50, 60, 70,000 in credit and they end up in more debt because they didn't have a plan of how to make that credit make them money. Even with that quote unquote good job. We already saw what the average person makes with a master's degree. So I remember people sitting at that dinner table beating on their chest with their masters. They're all in worse financial situations because they don't have a plan in place. And that's the thing that, Sumpter is really highlighting. So what would be a takeaway that you got from one, following the blueprint? But here's something else, and I know we briefly talked about this, why it's important to find a strategy that actually works. Because there's a lot of BS out there. And you and I even briefly talked about that. Because I tell my REI 90 mentees, y'all stay out of some of these conferences. These rappers and athletes, they don't know what y'all think they know. Can you share just some of that and how you kind of changed your viewpoint, but it helped you to create more wins?
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, I've been to some of those. I was someone who went to some of those conferences, and you listening to the celebrities, but watching all the free content, and you were someone who was like, these celebrities, they can't teach you how to really move the needle in your life. Their sources of wealth is not something the average person has access to. So that really just started to get my mind going, because it's like, okay, well, these aren't individuals I really need to be following. Yeah, it's good to see that they're winning, but it's not something that can move the needle in my life, for to say. So with that, being able to get into a program that anyone can really do, like listening to a lot of the mentees who have had success on the previous calls, it's like, I know if they can do it, I can do it. Like, I know I can learn this information. It's just up to me to really put in the work. So my biggest takeaway is it's really up to you individually, no matter where you are at in your life. If you're willing to put in the work, something good will come out of it. If you have the right mentorship, the right networking group, things will fall into place for you.
Definitely, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Like I tell everybody, and I want to tell you publicly, man, proud of you. Just seeing your growth in these short 2 years. And I know the sky's the limit. You got a lot of dope things on the table. And you're creating a community inside your community out there in Dayton. Because you're in a market where you don't got a lot of competition. Like when we was going through some of the properties out there, that's why I asked you about the property manager. I'm like, man, it's a lot of opportunities out there in Dayton. And you still got a ton of other credit to tap into. So, man, the sky's the limit, man. And we gonna keep this train going.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate the team, man. Salute to everyone at We Management, man. Y'all please tap in. Please.
Thanks, man. Thank you, Sumpter.